Welcome, writers. Today, I want to talk about memoir. Memoir is one of my absolute favorite genres to coach. And what I've been hearing a lot lately from the writers that I coach in memoir is a struggle with unearthing memories from long ago. So, in other words, I'm working with writers who maybe are writing about an experience they had 15, 20, 30 years ago, even. And sometimes going back to those memories is difficult. It's difficult to remember exactly how they made us feel, why they were so important. We intellectually know that a moment was significant, but we can't quite figure out why. So, this video is all about tips and techniques to help you unearth the memories you need to make your memoir compelling and to help your readers really connect with the story that you're aiming to tell. And we're also going to talk about why these memories do make your memoir so much more powerful. So let's dive in. Pulling out memories for a memoir is important for several reasons. A memoir isn't just about recounting events, it's about capturing the essence of those events. I'm going to say that again because if you get nothing else out of this video, I hope you will remember this. A memoir is not just about recounting events, it's about capturing the essence of those events and how they shaped you and how they connect to a universal human experience. The more authentic and vivid that your recollections are, the more your readers are going to connect with your story. And specific memories bring experiences to life in a way that broad generalizations or vague recollections simply cannot. These memories are the things that provide depth and texture and really show readers who you are. You are more than just the experience that happened to you. And these memories provide insight into that. If you think about if you read a lot of fiction, we have the plot of the story, which of course in memoir is the thing that happened to you that you're writing about, and then we have characters who are deep characters that we get to know on many different levels and who have an interesting narrative arc or character arc, right? And that's what you're doing in memoir with these memories. These memories are the things that bring you to life as the character and the star of your story. So, meet my dad. This is Paul Pickens. This is sometime around 1984 or so, and we're at the Jersey Shore, which we went to every summer when I was a kid. The Jersey Shore is a place full of great memories for me and my family and steeped in lots of traditions. One of those family traditions is captured in this photograph. Every year, from the time I was born until when I went off to college, my mom liked to photograph me and my dad on this one spot on the beach. And the tradition was no matter the weather, no matter what else was going on, we did this on the last day of every vacation. And on this particular day, I remember really digging in my heels. I don't know exactly how old I was or exactly what year this was, but I was a tween. And I was just hitting that age where I really wanted to be with my parents and I really still liked kids' stuff, but I was also individuating. I was making my own way in the world. And I decided that year I was going to be a writer and I decided that I was going to be an actress and I was getting into all these things that made me me. And I didn't really want to have my picture taken that day. When I look at this picture, I see some other things too. I notice the wind that was blowing, and I'm suddenly reminded of what a cold day it was. It shouldn't have been that cold. It was middle of summer, but there must have been a storm or something, and I just remember being really cold. And I didn't want to go to the beach that day. And my mom said, well, it's tradition. And I was told to put on my sweater, and we went out there and we braved the wind the way our me and my dad's hair is curling like that. It's that salty air. I remember thinking my hair looked really cool when I was a little kid at the shore. And I was feeling it. I had the sunglasses on the hat on the head, and I'm wearing this sweater that was I was really proud of at that time. It was this big bulky sweater that I like to wear with skinny jeans. So I'm feeling really cool in this picture. I'm feeling kind of snarky, and I'm really ultimately done with this moment. I can't tell you that I would have remembered all of these details until I looked at this photograph. But when I looked at this photograph and I got these hints, these sensory details that pop out, the wind, the salty air, what that felt like on my skin, all of these sensations connected me to the moments that unfolded in this particular scene. Now, as an adult, when I am able to tap into those memories, I can look at them from a brand new vantage point. And what I see now is the very delicate balancing act that my dad was doing there. He understood that I was done. I did not want to be in this picture. I did not want to be a little kid. And he also understood that his wife, who he adored, looked forward to taking this picture all year, and it would have been such a bummer to her to have this gap in the photo album. So he's in this tricky place where he wants to keep the good vacation vibes going, and he also wants to respect me as I'm getting older. And so you can see from the expression on his face, he's saying something funny. He was always had a great sense of humor, and he's making some kind of joke to make this moment easier. And now, as an adult, I'm able to appreciate that. And I'm able to think about the ways that I have tried to invite ease into the relationship with my own children, very much inspired by moments like the one depicted in this photograph. So, suddenly, you can see if I were writing a memoir about motherhood or my childhood or any number of things, you can see how just looking at this photograph and doing a single study of this moment can unearth all kinds of memories that we can connect to broader themes that are relevant today. So, a memoir isn't just about the events. Like I said, it's about the way the events made you feel, how they influenced your growth, and how they ultimately shaped your identity. By retrieving memories, you can reveal your entire internal journey. And that's where the power of memoir lies. Your readers are going on a journey to watch transformation happen. And in order to understand how we've transformed, we have to understand where we've come from. And that's why digging into our memories and really making them less abstract, really bringing them to the forefront, can be such a powerful technique for memoir writers. So, a memoir is not a collection of random memories. It's a reflection on personal development. And revisiting your past will help you understand how you've evolved, what you've learned, and how these memories all tie together in a larger narrative of your life. But we forget, right? I am working with memoir writers who have experienced a million different things since the time that they are writing about. And it's just inevitable that we will forget some of the details, particularly if they're difficult details. Sometimes we've really protected ourselves from memories that we now feel ready to dig into. So when I work with a writer who's doing a memoir and who is having a difficulty remembering certain details from their past, I like to offer the tools that I'm going to share with you now. I hope they're helpful. Let's take a look. The first one is free writing with emotion words. Before we dig into what this can look like, I want to just make sure that we all are coming on from the same place on what free writing is. Free writing is exactly what it sounds like. It's just writing with a pen or typing on the keyboard freely, letting words spill out of you that you will never share with anyone else. This is messy. This is creative. It's just sticking words on a page, not worrying about grammar, punctuation, or anything else that we normally think about when we're writing. The idea here is that when we don't get caught up on making things sound good or look pretty, we can just kind of cut through all of that and access much deeper understanding and deeper ideas that we can pull and put onto the page. The key to free writing, to really get the most out of it, is to never let your pen or your fingers stop. You want to be continuously getting words onto the page. They may even be words like, I don't have anything to say. I can't remember. I don't know. Keep typing. Trust me, your brain will get tired of being resistant. And a couple minutes of, I don't know, I don't know, I don't care, will soon turn into material that is much more interesting and will probably surprise you. It really is an excellent tool for breaking down resistance that we sometimes feel when we sit down to write. Okay, so once you are comfortable, you have a comfortable understanding of how writing works, I want you to choose a specific scene in your memoir that you want to add some memories to, and that you want to give more essence, more narrative drive, or more impact in that scene. Once you've decided what scene that is, I want you to assign an emotion to it. So, for example, in the photograph that I shared with you a minute ago, I might assign the emotion ambivalence. I was really feeling in that moment torn between being a kid and being a teenager, and I was in that messy middle in between, and it was making me feel a lot of other emotions that were complicated and that I didn't probably manage as gracefully as I might have liked. But the number one emotion is ambivalence. Of course, life is messy, and we will often feel lots of different emotions all in at one time. And occasionally, you'll want to address that fact. But most of the time, when you're writing a scene, it's going to have more impact for your reader if you can really hone down on one specific emotion that you want to give your reader the experience of having. After you've assigned a single emotion to your scene, set the timer for 10 or 15 minutes and free write about that emotion as it relates to that scene. So just jot down ideas. In my case, if I were to do the word ambivalence, I might say, um, vacation's over, no more Ferris wheel, headed to theater club next month. And as I dig in deeper and deeper, what all of that meant to me at that time would become more clear. So again, pay no attention to grammar structure or writing polished prose. Your only job here, and it's a big job, is to dig deep and unearth those emotions that are driving this scene and that you want this scene to evoke in your readers. Another one that you might try is unearthing sensory details. Focus on specific sensory details from the event that you want to write about. So that can be sounds and smells and textures. Explore how those might evoke an emotional response. For example, in the picture that I showed you, the sound of ocean waves and the sound of seagulls is just always going to be a super safe, super reassuring sound to me because it represents summer with my family. The way the salt felt on my skin and the wind whipping through my hair felt brings me right back to that moment. The smell of a particular flower could trigger up a memory of a lost one, or a sound may bring up a particular recollection of feeling lonely. Sensory details of all kind help us access emotions because they provide a very visceral, tangible connection to the past. So oftentimes when I work with a writer who's writing memoir, I can tell that in their minds they have these very complicated ideas that are super powerful and they'll have the opportunity to have a lot of impact on the reader. But right now, those ideas are too abstract. The writer may not even be able to exactly articulate the scene's purpose. They know there's a purpose. They know how that scene in their mind is making them feel, but connecting what's in their mind to the reader who needs to try to understand without all the context that the writer has, we need a way to eliminate that abstract nature of the event. And sensory details are a fantastic way to really tap into that and help the reader experience what you, the writer, went through. Visual imagery exercises are hugely helpful. We just did one together with the photograph of my father. Find a photo or an image that represents a specific event or moment that you are writing about, and then just describe that scene in detail. Note your emotional response to this. So, this is sort of the reverse of what we've just done. Earlier, I asked you to identify an emotion and then write about the scene as it relates to that emotion you've identified. Now, instead, you're looking at a photo to figure out what emotions it brings up for you and then writing about those. You may find that this exercise really stimulates memories and connects abstract emotions to concrete sensory experiences. And again, makes it so much easier to articulate what you're thinking in writing. Letter writing can be a really powerful tool. And I even recommend this technique to people who are writing fiction as well. Writing a letter to someone who's involved in a scene you're writing can be an enlightening experience. It can be a letter of forgiveness or anger, love, closure, anything that feels important to you. I want to emphasize it's absolutely not the intention of this exercise to necessarily give this letter to the person you're writing to. That person may not even be in your life anymore. This exercise is to help you articulate deeper emotions that you may have lost touch with over the years. So if you are explaining to someone from your past how their actions made you feel, and you are really committed to making sure they understand the enormity of the situation, the power of that moment, what you write to them is likely going to be very powerful, very authentic, very real, and perhaps have a very good role in the story that you're telling. The next technique I sometimes recommend is putting yourself in someone else's shoes. So, just by definition, if you're writing memoir, your entire story comes from your point of view. And that, of course, is what we're all reading memoir to see. We want to be inside your head. We want to have that experience alongside of you. And that's a very, very powerful point of view. But sometimes, because we're seeing everything through our own eyes, especially with characters that we don't remember as well, maybe we haven't visited in decades, it can be hard to bring those people and their perspective to the page. One of the ways that we can do that is by putting yourself in their shoes for a minute and trying to imagine how they saw the scene that you're describing. So this doesn't mean taking sides. This doesn't mean suddenly seeing it through their eyes and somehow validating it through their eyes. It's more to just understand what they were thinking in order to remember what they did and to understand the impact of it. Doing this creates a deeper, more layered, more emotional experience for your reader. Finally, I want you to think about ways to stitch these memories into the fabric of your memoir. So, with any luck, if you've gone through these exercises, you have unearthed some really interesting memories. You are gleaning new insight. You're understanding how what happened in the past impacts who you are today. What do we do with all this information? I always recommend looking through the manuscript and assigning these exercises to specific scenes in your story so that you can match up the revelations, you can match up the feelings, the sensory details with specific scenes and just stitch them in seamlessly. And you will soon have a very well developed collection of stories and of memories that brings your story to life for your reader. Finally, be patient with yourself. Memory retrieval is not always instant, and that is okay. Some memories are going to come in easily, and others are going to take more time. Don't rush, it will come. It may mean doing exercises like this on a pretty regular basis, or just simply free writing. The more you do it, the easier it becomes to tap into those memories and really mine information and mine details that are going to resonate with readers. As you do this, of course, if you are writing about memories that are difficult, this can be a very challenging part of writing a memoir. And oftentimes our minds are protecting us from those memories. We've put a lot of effort into forgetting certain memories. And so, if you are doing this brave and difficult and important work, I just want to remind you to make sure it's the right season for you to be doing so and that you have appropriate support when you need it, whether that be a friend or a therapist or any loved one, because this is big, brave stuff you're doing. If you have tools and techniques that you use to get in touch with memories in order to write about them in your memoir, I would love to hear about them in the comment section. And I'm sure other people here would as well. So please share in the comment section. And if this video was helpful for you, I would be so grateful if you would like and subscribe to my channel. This will help more writers get access to this kind of information. Thanks so much, and I'll be back again next week.